Today is Asanha Bucha day, right? It's a day where the Buddha gives the sermon, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, to the 5 ascetics. And one of them is called Ajahn, the first disciple of the Buddha, who after listening to the 4th Noble Truth and the Noble Eightfold Path, penetrate the eyes of the wisdom and become a Sotapanna and requested the Buddha for the ordination. So that is the first monk in the history of Buddhism. The Arya Sangha was born, and there was Ajahn in Buddhism. So last time there's only Buddha and Dhamma, only 2 refuges. Now we have the 3 refuges. So it can be called a Sangha day because Ajahn asked for entry to become a monk. Bhikkhu, Ehi Bhikkhu, and that was the Buddha giving the ordinations, Ehi Bhikkhu. So you have the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So the triple gem was fully established. Buddhism was fully established as a triple gem on this day, Asanha Bucha day. So it's very important for us Buddhists that the teaching of the Buddha emphasizes a lot on precept. Like I said just now, how many observing a precept? So there's a few, right? And some, we can say that they would like to observe the precept, but condition doesn't permit. So you see in life, when we want to do some goodness, it doesn't mean that you want to do it, you can do it. You must have the right time, right occasions, and you must have the opportunity, then you can do it. Sometimes we might have the intention to do it, but condition doesn't permit, we can't. And of course, we are not going to force ourselves into total naive that we want to do it like a small kids. If you don't observe the precept in a temple, you have trouble with your family members, and that's not wise. So being at home, you too may be able to observe the 8 precept. If you don't have the time to come to the temple, of course it will be more conducive, but rather if you're at home, you may have the opportunity to perform the 8 precept. It's a bit harder, but it's better than none. Because why? At the end of all these actions, observing of the precepts, you need this heart of yours. You need to have mindfulness to guard your action, your speech. The precepts consists of no killing, no stealing, no sex, no telling lies, and no alcohol, no food after 12, no music, no makeup, and no entertainments. No high bed. You need this heart of ours. You need this attention, this mind of ours to regulate. And every time when our mind go wild, it's because we never control. We never discipline our mind in terms of the precept. And this is what happens. If we are always in contact with and to develop the good qualities of the mind, good quality of the precept to be instilled in our daily life, then you'll find your life will change to be the better. Because why? Silena sukati yanti. The precept, the restraint will give you, will brings you happiness. It's not happiness of what other people think in the world they expect. It's happiness of your mind, the sereneness, the calmness, the non-agitation state of your mind, the mind that is cool, that doesn't commit crimes, that means doesn't think wildly, right? And because of the precept, it brings you happiness. Because of the precept, it brings you what? Fortune. And because of the precept, at the breakup of the body, you will gain a heavenly rebirth. And during the King Asoka time, King Asoka has laid out the rules for all government officials to observe the 8 precept. That means afternoon, during the full moon's day, Patimokkha day, no food after 12. So one of the officials, he forgotten it was a full moon day, and he went to have his lunch, and he was spotted, and he was reminded that, hey, today is Patimokkha day, you better observe your sabbat. That means observe the precept. And he realized, oh yeah, right, that half day, and because someone reminded him, he can recollect. And because of these recollections and what we call anisong, the merits he accumulated, and he passed away, he was being able to be born as a deva, as a divine beings. So you can see from here that your mind, if you are always dwelling in the good aspect, good values that we cultivate for ourselves all the time, and we don't let the emotion to shaken us easily, then you find yourself will live a very peaceful and happy life, right? Regardless of whether you are ordained or not ordained. This is very important to be able to compose our mind in the state of calmness and when to react and when not to react, and when to just cool still. And that's very important. It reflects on our meditation mind state. So that will be the sharing for today, and the monk will give the blessing now. You see, the Buddha's teachings, when we talk about the Buddha's teaching, we human beings, regardless of your race or where you live in any part of the world, the word human beings, or what we call living beings being born into this world, we are all subjected to what we call suffering of the mind. You see, when we talk about the body, we don't have to say about the body. We know no one is free from sickness, from aging, illness, right? We're talking about the suffering of the mind. That's why we are so lucky, fortunate to have met the Buddha's teachings. And it's very, very important that we must know how to instill and how to correct ourselves from all this wrongdoing we have done in the past that resulted our present situations. And this is very, very important. A lot of people, they overlook. They thought that, never mind. I'm so happy, I'm so glad. I have everything in life, you see. But if you were to look at yourself, sometimes you think of doing goodness. At first you trigger the thoughts of doing something good, right? And next moment your thought changes again. And you decide that you're not going to go. Or sometimes you hear something detrimental about certain thing, and then you feel bad. You see how your mind changes, how our decision change so fast. Just now you were thinking, okay, and then a few seconds later, no okay. Change. And this is the problem of our mind, an untrained mind. That's why when we talk about intentions, you must intend ตั้งใจ. In Thai we say ตั้งใจ. ตั้งใจดีๆนะ ตั้งใจดีๆนะ ทำอะไร ตั้งใจดีๆ. That means you must set intention very firm. I'm going to do it. Then you do it. Right? And for people who always practice or have this kind of good intention be instilled in themselves, it's a second nature. Every time they think of doing good, they just go. No question asked. Because why? The mind has been inclined. จิตที่ทำไปแล้วมันคุ้นเคยทำความดี. But mind that is not trained, for example, certain people, they are still wavering, undecided. Whether should I go or should not go? Why should I go? Why should I go? Why should I give? No, a lot of thoughts, a lot of doubts, right? And the mind just keep changing. And someone says something, pop, you change your mind straight away, right? So your intention is not firm, right? But when you're doing good, you must be firm. Okay, I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do. And you see when your intention is set right, and after the action you perform this kind of actions, this kind of good deeds, how you feel? You feel very happy. You feel very blessed. You feel very pleasant feeling in your heart, right? And that should be the way, right? And for people who always fall sick, remember, you fall sick, like the Buddha said, you fall sick because you always destroy living beings. Why? Sometimes in the kitchen, maybe ants or cockroaches, you take out the morphine, and that's it. And they just sweep it away. And then afterward, followed by what? You will have flu, headache. Ever notice that? You see the immediate result. And that never mind. It calls you to diversify your merit. So never do that. This is self-discipline. The precept is sort of self-discipline. Right? You got to observe precept. And remember that you have this kind of sickness. Always ask forgiveness to all the living beings. Whether you have injured them or killed them intentionally or unintentionally. You ask forgiveness from them. And this is very important. After you do that, then you transfer merits, right? Observe precept, transfer merit. Then things will get better and better. Everything happens with a cause. There's no such thing that, I don't know why this thing happened to me. There's nothing, don't know why. The Buddha got the answer. The Buddha's teaching. The Buddhas know everything happens with a cause. And the Buddha tell us, don't breach the 5 precepts. Then your life will be peaceful and happy, and perform your generosity and do a lot of chanting, especially this COVID time. A lot of Kuba Ajahn, a lot of instrument has been testified and proven that chanting, spreading thoughts of goodwills, you are spreading this kind of good energy externally, and you will resolve a lot of unsettled thing in your life. So even the scientists begin to be interested in Buddhism, in the Buddha's teaching, where our Lord Buddha has found the truth 2,000 over years ago. But it never too late. It's good that it has been supported by science, supported by medical knowledge. So it will be a plus point, and I urge that you all hear what has been said and consider it, think about it for this sharing, right? And the monk will do the blessing now. You see, there's many incidents in Buddhism, because sometimes people are not informed, especially for the newcomer. You know, there's an incident, a few incidents about this volunteer who served in the temple, and this volunteer, he like to take things for granted without asking the Sangha. And for example, when they were building, there was one occasion, this story was told to me by this present Sangharaja now. And this volunteer was staying in the temple, and they were collecting funds to build the walls for the temple. And this man, he thought that, wow, collection so much, more than the required amount. And his mind thought that, well, if I spend a minimum part of it, I think it's okay. It's all discretion, so he spent the money. And as time passed, he doesn't know it's a kind of unwholesome karma committed. This is considered stealing, because taking things without giving. So when he falls sick in the later stage of his life, every time when he was hospitalized, he perceive the wall falling onto him, and in his vision he saw the wall falling to him, and he shouted, "Oh, wall falling!" And the wife and the daughter was looking after him at the hospital, and he wake him up. Dad, what's wrong? There's no wall. And he wake up, there's no wall. But because of his own ignorance, unknowingness, no one informed him, he died miserably, because he didn't do any repent, any asking for forgiveness, and he passed away having the wall falling onto him. So we can see the kind of mind state where the person passed away is very, very sad. Another incident is by Luang Pu Wei. Luang Pu Wei is a meditation Tudong monk. He went Tudong. So one day he was staying at this temple, and then while he was meditating, he saw this ex-abbot of the temple, ex-abbot. That means the abbot that passed away was carrying a piece of land, and in his vision, this old abbot was grumbling, "Oh, very heavy, very heavy, very heavy." So Luang Pu Wei asked him in his meditation, "Why? What are you carrying? What's so heavy?" "Oh, very heavy, very heavy." And he saw, oh. So next morning when he after the meditation, next morning, he went for the alms round in the village, and he asked the villager regarding the piece of land in front of the temple. He said, "Yesterday night, I got a vision, a monk was carrying this piece of land on his back, was grumbling, very heavy. Who does it concern? What does it concern? Who is involved?" And it happened that this land, the father who was once abbot of temple, had given the land to the daughter without the knowledge of anyone. That means he secretly gave the land belongs to the Sangha, to the daughter. And this is a very heavy offense in the Vinaya. Immovable object you cannot give to anyone. And because of that, the daughter was very sad that what can we help? So Luang Pu Wei come up with a strategy to say that, okay, you ask all your family members to assemble here, and we upalo means we will suppose an amount which you can afford, and you pay back to the Sangha, so the Sangha acknowledge that you have paid back the debts for your parents, for the father. And this lady, she did it. And that night, when Luang Pu Wei was meditating, this old monk came to say thank you to him, that if without Luang Pu Wei coming to help him to address the problem, he would be there like the sutta for thousands of years, cannot go reborn because of that unwholesome action that one has done, So this is for reflections, right? Whether we are lay or we are monk, everything we do, we say, we think, we must treat it with a lot of restraint properly, so that we don't commit our karma both verbally through our actions and through our thinking also. So it's very important. All these things is what decides us in our future life. More to come, we will never reach Nibbana. So your life won't meet up with so much difficulty. That will be the sharing. Now the more give blessing. You see, we human beings, we always have skillful thoughts and unskillful thoughts, right? And this is very normal because why? We are not Arahant. We are noble human beings on earth, and we have this liking, disliking. And the worst thing is what? Jealousy. Why? Jealousy always occurs when you see your husband talking to some lady, or you see your wife talking to some man. Straight away, inside the heart, sprinkle with the thoughts. Thoughts of what? Is there anything going on there? Actually, people just talk like good neighborhood, but he or she thinks so much. Think. Worse still, if she is on OT or he is on OT, work overtime, come back, straight away, check on the shirt, whether it got perfume smell. Yeah? Go to the vehicle to check whether any long hair, anything. Oh, why? That is the problem with human beings. Why I would like to share this kind of incident, because it happened to a lot of my devotees who actually overthinking, because the husband come to the temple all the time. The husband help the temple all the time, never go anywhere for what you call entertainment. But the wife thinks so much. Why the husband always not around, not at home? Where does he go to? Blah blah blah. You know. And in the end, when she find out the husband go to the temple, then she realized, oh, what a fool of myself, think so much. And then she laughed and come and talk to me. Oh, Ajahn, this thinking of ours is very horrible. I said, what? I keep thinking that my husband got another gig, I said, what? What is that? Another new partner. I didn't know, oh, he go to temple. I said, you suspect? Oh, yeah, suspect. So, you see this suspicious mind of ours, it can go without boundary. So how to have boundary for the mind? The DIY, do it yourself, is to be mindful and have a mantra, have a meditation team to recite on. Because why? You think of Putto, you think of the Buddha, and because of your mindfulness, looking after your mind doesn't wander anyhow. So you're always very composed, very calm, and very cool. So whatever detrimental thought, unskillful thought arises, you can arrest it straight away. This is an unskillful thought. This is unwholesome thought. I should not be thinking of this, and let my mental energy be diversified and become detrimental by this kind of thoughts. We always get mentally very tired because of this problem. We don't know how to do self-control. We might say that, I know how to meditate. I have mindfulness. You have mindfulness. Then how come you are so mentally tired? Why? Have you asked this question? You take a sleep, come out, you see how your mind stream out. Go out, think of all this kind of thing, 100 and 1,008 Don't stop. So how to recharge yourself is to be mindful, right? And have a meditation team to stay in your heart and keep repeating it. Keep hold to your meditation, Putto, so that your mind have a mainstay. We call it vihara tham, right? It's just a vihan, just a temple for your heart, right? It's mindfulness. Remember, right? It's not something outside there. It's something inside you that you should restore this goodness within yourself and not being influenced by all this unwholesome thought. And that will be the sharing for today. And the man will give the blessing now. You see, every time when we come to the temple, the monk will always encourage the lay people to meditate, to calm the mind, to calm down your mind. And the purpose of calming down the mind, so that your mind won't be so engaged with external things that's causing you all this, what do you call that, the problems of life. So when the mind, a calm mind, a concentrated mind will make a person think clearly. perceive things clearly, understand things very clearly. A mind that is not trained, it always full of doubts, full of wanting. And just that now you're listening. When a person dies, what you have? Nothing. Your breath will stop. Only this knowing. Slowly, the feeling also stop. Your thinking also stop. You can't remember anything. Only this mind that is knowing that will leave the body. And if you're never trained, it's very, very sad. If you're engaged in the very sad mental state, then you will be in the bad state of rebirth. But if you are always in a very happy state, or you have good thoughts present in your mind, you don't have to worry. Because why? This good mental state is bright, is cleared. It's just like a changing from an old car to a new car, a better mode of transport. It means a changing of the body from a painful, suffering body to a formless. And because those people who doesn't attain jhana stage of brightness of the mind, you still have this what we call form body, like what you're living up from this physical body into a form mental body. And that's why sometimes people say, can you please help this and help that? How to help? It's impossible, because when a person is alive, he don't even help himself. And you believe that after he's dead, someone can help him? It is only that through the mind stage, there's a connection that we are able to connect it and dedicate merits, right? Putto, 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 putto. Some mind state, they are sad, but if they repeat the word putto just 3 times, putto, 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 pum, like a smoke, white smoke, zoom up to become a deva and be reborn in the heavenly beings. But how many people got this kind of good karma to make with the monk that can help? Most of them landed in the bad stage. That's why when we are alive, remember, we should pursue things that have meaning in life, that is conducive, right, skillful, good, meritorious deed. After performing all kinds of actions, all kinds of speech, and the things that we think about that brings you goodness only. Remember, heaven and hell is not outside, it's in your mind. It's the mind that decides which direction, which approach you are approaching. And this is something that really matters to human beings. Right? You can believe what you believe, but if your mind is not trained, the belief is just a belief. In reality, the mind state that we are dwelling now decide where we go. And that will be the sharing for today. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang eva beva nitotina petanang upakapatit ichita badita dumha kipameva samicatu sape purentu sankapa Chandho Panaraso Yatha Manicho Diraso Yatha Tiya Vivanjanu Samaro Govina Saduma Devava Vandarayo Sukhi Digayo Gobhava Viva Tanasile Sanicang Buddha Vajayino Chakaro Dhamma Vatanti Ayuhano Sukhang Alaya Samipade Kapete Vasa Parita Jatiyo Sila Vadeta Mochetava Sanyate Brahmacharino Yadata Devata Sunta Sadakina Madise Tapuchita Pujayanti Marita Manayadina Tatonang Anukampanti Mata Putavaurasang Devata Nukampito Poso Satabarani Pasati Pawatu Sabhamangalang Rakadosa Badevata
สัพพพุทธานุภาเวนะสดาโสติภวันตุเตภาวะตุสัพพมังคลังราคะตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพธัมมานุภาเวนะสดาโสติภวันตุเตภาวะตุสัพพมังคลังราคะตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพสังฆานุภาเวนะสดาโสติภวันตุเต